Hello students, welcome to our history series. In this class, we will discuss about the Chandragupta II, the most important ruler of Gupta dynasty. In the previous class, we have discussed that why Gupta Empire is known as Golden Era of India or Golden Age of India. We have also discussed the founder of Gupta Empire, Shri Gupta, the Chandragupta first and the Samudragupta and his military powers. In this class, we will discuss about the third most important ruler of Gupta dynasty, which is known as Chandragupta II. So let's start the topic. Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II was the son of Samudragupta. After the death of Samudragupta, Chandragupta II became the next ruler. Chandragupta II, also known as Vikramaditya, or he has adopted a title known as Vikramaditya. What is the meaning of Vikramaditya? The meaning of Vikramaditya is the power like sun. Means a person who is powerful equal to the sun. So he adopted a title known as Vikramaditya. The time of Chandragupta II was 375 AD to 415 AD. Most of the information related to Chandragupta II are mentioned in Mehrauli Iron Pillar Edict. There is a pillar edict in Mehrauli in Delhi near to Qutub Minar known as Mehrauli Iron Pillar Edict, and most of the information are mentioned in this pillar. He expanded the empire through both military and matrimonial alliances. Mean his father followed war policy and his grandfather followed matrimonial alliance. So he adopted both basically methods to extend his empire. His reign is considered the pinnacle of Gupta Empire, marked by the culture and economical prosperity. He defeated the Shakas and established Ujjain as a prominent cultural center. Okay, Chandragupta II defeated Shakas, who was ruling over Ujjain region. He defeated Shakas, he captured Ujjain from Shakas, and he established Ujjain as a culture center of Gupta Empire. Clear? Okay. A person known as Fahian visited during his reign. A Chinese traveler, Fahian, visited in India during the time of Chandragupta II, and most of the information about Chandragupta II are mentioned in Mehrauli Iron Pillar Edict, which is in Delhi, Mehrauli. Like Akbar, there were also 9 famous personalities in the court of Chandragupta II, which were known as the 9 gems or Navratnas of Chandragupta II. So in this class, we will also discuss the 9 gems, the Navratnas, and the 9 famous personalities who were in the court of Chandragupta II. Starting with first was Kalidas. Kalidas was the greatest Sanskrit poet and dramatic, known for his profound impact on Indian literature, who wrote many books in Sanskrit language, including Abhijan, Shakuntalam, Meghdut, Raghuvansham, and Kumar Sambhava. Also, Malvika Agni Mitra is the another important book which was written by Kalidas only. So Kalidas was the one of the Navratna or 9 gems of Chandragupta II. He was in the court of Chandragupta II. Clear? So you have to basically remember these books: Shakuntalam, Meghdut, Raghuvansham, Kumar Sambhava. All books are written by Kalidas only. The second personality during the time of Chandragupta II was Amar Simha. Amar Simha, a renowned lexicographer and a poet. Okay, Amar Simha wrote a book known as Amar Kosh, a Sanskrit book that is one of the oldest and most authoritative texts of its kind. Amar Simha was also a lexicographer and a poet. He wrote a book known as Amar Kosh, or Amar Kosh is the only book which first book which is Kosh means dictionary basically. So it's explained the 10,000 roots words meaning of the Sanskrit. So it is a Sanskrit dictionary which was written by Amar Simha. Next in Dhanvantri was known as the father of Ayurveda. So he was one of the 9 gem during the time of Chandragupta II. The fourth personality was Varamihir. Varamir was a distinguished astronomer, the mathematician, and astrologer as well as. Clear? So Varamir wrote Brad Samhita, Panch Siddhantika. In Brad Samhita, he explained about the astronomy, the astrology, the geography and architecture, and in Panch Siddhantika, he explained 5 astronomical system. Next is Shanku. Shanku is known for his contribution to architecture engineering. Basically, so he was the architecture during the time of Chandragupta II. He wrote a book known as Shilpa Shastra. The Shilpa Shastra, a book, was written during the time of Chandragupta II, and this book was written by Shanku. The sixth personality was Kahapana, and the seventh personality was Ghatkarpana. Both were scholars and poet and writer. 8 was Vitala Bhatta, who was a magician who wrote a book known as Mantra Shastra. And the last 9 was Vararuchi, who was a Prakrit language scholar and who wrote a book known as Prakrin Prakash. So Prakrin Prakash book was written by the Vararuchi, who was the Prakrin language scholar. Clear? So these were the 9 famous gems during the time of Chandragupta II. After the death of Chandragupta II, the Kumargupta first became the next ruler of Gupta dynasty. He got a title known as Mahendraditya. Mahendraditya title, he became the ruler around 415 BC till 455 CE. So his reign started around 415 BC till 455 CE. Okay, Kumar Gupta was the founder of famous Nalanda University, which was the eminent cultural center or learning center for Buddhism and different theories and different subjects. So Nalanda University was founded during the time of Gupta Empire and during the time of Kumar Gupta first in Bihar. Laterly, Nalanda University was destroyed by the Bakhtiyar Khilji. After the death of Kumargupta first, Skandagupta became the next ruler. Skandagupta, he was the he got the title known as Vikramaditya. Same as Chandragupta II, same as his father Chandragupta II. His ruling time was around 4552 to 467 AD. Clear? Okay, he was also defeated Gupta Empire from Huns. Huns was a tribe who belongs to the Central Asia region. A tribe known as Huns attack during the time of Guptas, and Skandagupta was successfully defeated Huns. Despite facing internal strife and economical difficulties, he managed to repel the invasion and preserve the empire integrity. And the last ruler of Gupta Empire was Vishnugupta. Vishnugupta became ruler around 540 AD to 550 AD. Till 10 years he was ruling in Gupta's empire. Okay, Vishnugupta was the last ruler and he was very weak ruler. After the death of Vishnugupta, the Gupta Empire also divided into small parts. As the ruler became weak, the ministers became powerful, and ministers declare himself as a king, and the whole Gupta Empire divided into a small constituency after the death of Vishnugupta. Clear? So this was the series related to the king of Gupta Empire. Now let's discuss the administrative points of Guptas, or some administrative details of Gupta Empire. As we all know, Gupta Empire was the center of art and culture, and most of the king also promote art and culture in his court. So it was started around 320. The Gupta era was started around 320 AD during the time of Chandragupt first, and the last ruler was Vishnugupta around 550 AD. The Gupta Empire, known for its efficient and centralized administrative system, which contributed significantly to its prosperity and stability as well. The administration of Gupta Empire was marked by a combination of central control and local autonomy. You have to understand these both parts mean Gupta Empire were also divided into central and states. We can say the central bodies are another. The part of the center was dealt by another bodies, and the local part dealt by another authorities. Let's understand the central administration of the Guptas. The major or supreme power in center was the king. The Gupta were the supreme authority. The Gupta king were the supreme authority during the time of Gupta Empire. The king holded titles such as Maharaja Dhiraj, the king of king, etc. The king was also the head of the state and the supreme commander of the military. So the head of the military as well as the head of the state center was the king. The king court was composed of high rank officers and ministers who assisted in governance. So king was basically suggested, or the administration of the king was led by the high rank officers and ministers also. Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers during the Gupta period were known as Mantri Parishada. So the group of ministers and the Council Parishad was known as the Mantri Parishad. There were different type of ministers during the time of Gupta period. The Mantri Parishad consists of high-ranking officer who advise the king on various matters. There were a minister who were known as the chief judicial minister, known as Mahadandnayaka. So in Mantri Parishad, there was a chief judicial officer who was known as the Mahadandnayaka. Also, minister of peace and war were there, who was Sandhi Vigrahika. And there was a chief administrative officer who was known as Kumar Amatya. So Kumar Amatya was the chief administrative officer. Sandhi Vigrahika was the minister of peace and war, basically who work on the treaties with two empires, and Mahadandnayaka was the judge or chief judicial or justice officer during the time of Gupta Empire. In fact, the head judicial officer was the king, but Mahadandnayaka was the part of king's Mantri Parishad who suggest king on legal matters. Now, provinces matters. Provincial administration. The empire was divided into provinces called bhuktis. Means the whole, basically the provinces was divided into small bhuktis, and the head of bhuktis was governor who was known as upariks. The bhuktis were further divided into vishyas, and the head of vishyas was vishyapati, and vishyas were divided into the grams. So this was the administrative, basically a provincial administration of the Guptas. The upper province was the kingdom or the empire or province. Further it was divided into bhukti. Bhukti was governed by the uparik, and later it was divided into vishyas and grams. Local administration was managed by the official appointed by the center authority. Means center authority was the supreme power. They administrate local administration officers, but often include local nobles and influential people. Mean the part of the local administration was the local peoples and local nobles. At the village level, administration was handled by the gramiks. The head of the gramiks was the gramiks was the head of the gram. Local assemblies or councils play a role in managing local affairs, including justice, revenue collection, and public work as well as. Clear? Okay. Next is revenue administration. Here we will have to discuss land revenue, the trade and commerce revenue, and craft and industries. The major source of income of the Guptas was the land revenue. The agriculture was the primarily source of income and the occupation of the people. The primarily source of state income was land revenue, as agriculture was the primarily source of Guptas, and the tax was fifth between 1/4 to 1/6 of the produce. The tax was from 1/4 to 1/6 according to the crops and production. If there is a land who was fertile and the crops productivity was good, then the tax was 1/4. And if crop productivity is bad and the land is not fertile, then the tax was 1/6. The tax was depend on the fertility productivity accordingly. The land was classified based on the fertility and productivity, and tax were levied accordingly. The Guptas also encouraged trade and commerce both internally and with other countries also. Taxation on trade, including tolls and duties, were there. They used seal for trade. Taxation on trade contribution significance to the state revenue. They also promote craftsmen and industries, and tax were also levied on craftsmen and industry, which were flourished during the time of Gupta Empire. Clear? Okay. Now, next is judicial administration of Guptas. In judicial administration, the king was the supreme judge, as there was a minister known as Mahadandnayaka who helped king on the legal matters. But king was the supreme judge, and his court was the highest court of appeal. If there is any issue, the last appeal court, or we can say for today's time, the last supreme court of king court that time. Judicial matters were handled at different levels, with village assembly and district official play a significant role in local justice. Local justice was directly handled by the village assemblies as well as district officers also. Punishments include fines, imprisonment, and corporal punishments also. Clear? Okay. Next is military administration. The Gupta army was well organized and consists of infantry, cavalry, chariots, and elephants. So the army includes infantry, cavalry, chariot, and elephant. 4 type of army were there. The king was the supreme commander and the military head during the time of Gupta period. So the head of the army was the king only. King was the supreme power as well as the supreme commander of the army. Clear? And fortification, fort, and garrison was established at strategic location to defend against invasion and maintain internal security. Okay. Now, during the time of Gupta period, the lands were divided into different parts. Like there was a land known as Kshetra, the land which was where the land was most fertile land was known as the Kshetra. There was another land known as a Vasu, where people used to stay only. The residential place was known as Vasu, and the agriculture place was known as a Krisha. There was another land known as Charagraha land, which used for the domestication of the animals. There, the land which was not fertile was known as the Khilp only. The Khilp land was that land which was not fertile, and Aprahat land was those land which was which was a kind of a forest land. The lands were divided into 4 to 5 parts. The first, the Kshetra, was that land which was used for agriculture only. The Vasu, used for resident purpose. The Charagah, land used for domestication of animal. The Khilp, the unfertile land, were known as Khilp. And Aprahat was the forest land, was known as Aprahat. Clear? Okay. Also related to coins during the time of Gupta age, the gold coins and the silver coins were known as rupiaka. The rupiaka was the coins which were Gupta's used for trade. Now the last is cultural and educational administration, as we all discussed. They were patronage of art and culture. The Gupta rulers were great patrons of art, literature, and culture. They support scholars, poets, and artists, leading to a flourish of cultural activity. The period saw establishment of renowned educational institutes such as Nalanda University, which attracted the students from all over the world. As we told, Nalanda University was the prominent cultural center as well as the education center during the time of Guptas. It was famous for Buddhism study also. There were around 10,000 students from all over the world who used to study in Nalanda University. The teacher student ratio was 7:1. Mean for each 7 student there was a single teacher. So this was the one of the oldest university in the world. Laterly, around 1193 AD, Bakhtiyar Khilji destroyed the Nalanda University. So this was the whole topic related to Guptas. Let's quick revise the session. In this class, we have discussed about the Chandragupta II, the third most important ruler of Gupta dynasty, who was the son of Samudragupta, also known as Vikramaditya. He got title Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya means sun-like power. Ujjain was the prominent culture center during the time of Chandragupta II, as he captured Ujjain from Shakas. Fayan visited during the time of Chandragupta II. Also, information related to Chandragupta II are mentioned in Mehroli Iron Pillar Edict. There were 9 gems, 9 famous personalities during the time of Chandragupta II, including Kalidas, and some notable books of Kalidas are Shakuntalam, Abhijan Shakuntalam, which explain the love story between Shakuntala and the king Dushyant. The second notable book is Meghdut. Basically, it is a book which explains the love story of Yaksha when Yaksha sent a message to his love through a cloud. The third story is Raghuvansham. Basically, Raghuvansham explains the Raghu dynasty from which the Lord Ram belongs to, and Kumar Sambhava explain about the birth of Kumara Kartikeya, the son of Shiva and Parvati. And there is another book known as Malvika Agnimitra, who explain the story of Malvika and Agnimitra. So the first one of the 9 gems was Kalidas. The second was Amar Simha, who wrote a book, a dictionary related to Sanskrit, Amar Kosha. The third was Dhanvantri, who was known as the father of Ayurveda. The fourth person was Varamir, who wrote Brad Samhita and Panch Siddhantika. The fifth personality was Shanku, who was the eminent contributor of architecture and who wrote a book known as Shilpa Shastra. The Kahapana and Ghatkarpana were also the writers. Vitala Bhatta was the magician during the in the court of Chandragupta II, and he wrote a book Mantra Shastra. Vararuchi was the Prakrit language scholar who wrote Prakrin Prakash. So these were the 9 gems we discussed. Later, after the death of Chandragupta II, Kumargupta first became the ruler who got the title Mahendraditta, and he was the founder of Nalanda University. After the death of Kumargupta first, his son Skandagupta became the ruler and who defeated India from the attack of Huns. Huns was a tribe who belongs to Central Asia. And the last ruler of Vishnugupta is after the death of Vishnugupta, the empire became very weak and the minister captured the empire and the whole empire divided into small parts or small constituencies. Administration detail. King was the administration was divided between central and local autonomous. The work of the central body to deal on the central level, on the kingdom level, and local autonomy deal for village level. The king was the supreme authority in the Gupta Empire. Council of Ministers to help the king. There was a Mantri Parishad known as Council of Ministers, including Mahadandanayaka, Sandeep Vidrahika, and Kumar Amatya. Province was divided into bhuktis. Bhuktis were divided into vishyas, and vishyas were divided into grams. Bhuktis were governed by the Uprik, vishyas was governed by the Vishyapati, and gram was governed by the Gramik. Basically, the land revenue was the primarily source of income of Guptas. Mean agriculture was the primarily occupation of the Guptas. The king was the supreme judge during the time of Guptas, and there were several types of lands depend on the productions and productivity, and king was also the army head of Guptas. And art and culture was at its peak point, at it was known as the golden age of India. So I hope you understand this session. Thank you.